Hi, my magical creatures, and welcome back to my channel. So today's video, I'm going to be talking about my best friend stole my or tried to steal my boyfriend. And the girl's transgender. So before we begin into the story time, don't forget to give this video a big thumbs up, a like, and don't forget to subscribe. It's the free way to help your girl out. So let's get started. Okay, this hair is like get on my nerves. Okay. All right, I think I look cute. Okay, so once upon a time, so I was in high school. So how I met this girl, I was already like transitioned and everything. So I had like my makeup, like I was already on hormones, and I had my boobs done. And I think at this time I was getting ready to get my face done, and then after my face, I was gonna go get the bottom surgery. So yeah, so I was at PetSmart, or I think I was at, yeah, no, I was at Petco. I was at Petco getting my animals their shots and stuff like that. So, I was with my grandmother at the time. So I got a little like bloop bloop on Instagram, and this girl, we're gonna call her, dang, I almost said her name. We're gonna call her Bubbles. Okay, we're gonna call the girl Bubbles. Okay. Um, Bubbles, basically I went to high school with her, so how I know her, she was like a year younger than me, and she basically, or no, I don't think she was a year younger than me. I think she was like 2 years younger than me. So in high school I did cross country, and then she did cross country too. So this girl was like, didn't even transition, didn't even start taking hormones or anything. So she hit me up saying like, oh my God, I just look up to you. You're such a role model, like, etc. Like I'm transgender too. And I was like, oh my God. So I was like, okay. And then she was like, how did you get like your work done? Like basically how I'm helping y'all. I basically took her under my wing, and like me and her started hanging out, and we started like doing stuff, hanging out. She was really cool. She was a lot of fun. She basically was too needy, and she was too she basically wanted everything that I had, and I was just like not having it. So how it all started, so I took her under my wing. So of course I had a soft spot for her because she's transgender, like she's trying to transition and stuff like that. So I was like, let me help her out. So I was basically like her mom. So after that, I helped her out. I introduced her to my boyfriend at the time that I was dating, the guy that was in the mafia and all that. Yeah, so I introduced her to him, and then we would all, like, three of us would hang out and stuff like that. So we went to the lake together. And then, so yeah, it was such a bad idea because, so after that, so I took her under my wing, all that. We went to the lake, and, my boyfriend, my ex-boyfriend at the time was like, oh, like, Bubbles, don't swim out too far because it's super deep. And in his past relationship, a girl that he was dating, DROWNED in the lake. So he got, nervous. He didn't want her to like go out far or whatever. So she was just being really snarky and like just being really rude to him and stuff like that. And she just kept telling me like I don't like him, like all this extra stuff. And just it was just too much. So I was like, okay, well, I mean, try to at least be respectful, like he's been respectful to you. Like if he did something out of pocket, like I would have corrected him, like that's my friend, like what are you doing? So she was just like, I don't know, like I feel like she just was really jealous. Like, how like Janice Ian had like a lesbian crush like on Regina George or whatever. I felt like that type of vibe was happening with Bubbles. And she was just like being really like bratty and just doing the most. So she also too like wanted to borrow my clothes and stuff like that. And I was like, my clothes are expensive, okay? And I knew if I let her borrow my stuff, I was never gonna see them clothes again. So I was kinda like, no. And then also too, like another thing too, like she would always be like so like negative. Like she would always be like, oh my God, like you're so pretty, and like, oh, my family just giving me a hard time and all this stuff, and I'm just like want to be just pretty like you and all this stuff. And I just told her, I was like, sweetheart, like I've been doing this for like 2 years. Like, start your hormones. Like I was literally telling her what to do, and like her medical insurance even covered her HRT. I was like, girl, get on that. Like, what are you doing? So like months into our friendship too, like so me and my ex-boyfriend, like we were taking a break or whatever. So we were so I went to the club or whatever, and I met this guy who was super cute, whatever. So we follow each other on Instagram and all that. So I was telling Bubbles about, I was like, girl, I met this guy or whatever. He is so cute. Da 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 da. He was like actually a baseball player and everything, and he was like really good looking, okay? And she basically, like, I showed her his Instagram, and then the girl started, she ended up following, like later on I looked at his Instagram, and there's heck of likes and stuff like that from Bubbles. And I'm like, what the hell? Like, Bubbles over here following him and like liking all his stuff, leaving comments and all that. And I was like, whoa, like this is weird. And so I was just like, so I messaged her immediately. I was like, why are you following him? And I was like, and why are you like leaving comments and liking all his photos? Like, you doing too much. And I was like, he doesn't even know you. Like, what are you doing? And then she was like, oh, like, girl, I just, I just want friends and all that, like all this extra stuff. And I was like, no. So that was like annoying, and I had to correct her. So for her birthday too, it was her birthday, y'all. So we went out to Cheesecake Factory, and then like she ended up ordering like food, and Cheesecake Factory ain't cheap, y'all. She ended up ordering her food and then a drink and then a cheesecake to like go and all that. And I paid for all of it on my card. So it was on me. And so she just, still was doing me dirty and everything like that. Um, Also too, like I went to go get my FFS, and and one thing about this girl, I took her to all my consultations appointments, so that way she can like ask, since she said she wanted to get FFS, her boobs done, and get bottom surgery. So I always, to all my appointments, I took her to all my appointments, so like if she had any questions, she can ask the surgeon or the doctor or whatever, all that stuff. Even for my bottom surgery consultation before I had it, she came with me, and I was like, yeah, go ahead and ask them like questions, see if you have any questions, so that way like you can go ahead and do it. And so, what was I gonna say? So I took care of this girl, okay? Like, and then like I could just tell like she was just super jealous and envious of me, like just everything. But it's like crazy because it's like, girl, you have medical insurance too, like why don't you hop on it? And she was just like, she wanted all this stuff, but like was not willing to take the steps to do it, if you know what I mean. And so after that happened, I ended up just so I had my FFS done or whatever. So I was in the hospital, right? I was by myself. I didn't have anyone with me in the hospital. I was in so much pain. Like it was so much pain. It was horrible. I was puking the whole night. I couldn't even sleep because I was in so much pain. I was in a lot of pain, and I spent the night in the hospital. I called Bubbles up on Instagram video chat or whatever, and she was like, oh my God, girl, like you look like, oh my God, like I'm so happy for you, but oh my God, I know like you're in a lot of pain and like all this stuff, but don't worry, I'm gonna come see you, like I'm gonna come visit you, like oh my God, I'm gonna take care of you, all this stuff. So I get home, and I'm like, Bubbles, where are you? Like the girl lived up the street from me, okay? And so she literally was just like, instead of coming to visit me like she said she was, she went to the beach. And I looked at her Snapchat story. I was like, so you really went to the beach and you didn't decide to come see me like you said you was today? And so I felt like that was hurtful. And then that's when I just stopped talking to her. I was like, girl, leave me alone. Um, Stuff like that. And also too, another thing too, like if this girl was like in my neighborhood or whatever, she'll be hanging out with other like people and stuff, and then like call me last minute and be like, hey, can I get a ride home? I'm in your neighborhood. I was like, girl, I'm not a taxi, I'm not an Uber. Like, I have a life. Like, you can't just be like, oh, on a last second, be like, hey, I need a ride. Like, and I was still living at home too. So, like, even I had a curfew. Like, no. So it was just like, it was just a lot. Like, she was so messy. And then, to be honest, yeah. And then, so my ex boyfriend at the time, so me and my ex, we got back together. Like, we were on and off. So he even told me too, like, I think Bubbles is super jealous of you, super envious and all that. And I was like, you think so? And he was like, yeah, like, I don't like her. And I was like, okay. So, after that too, long story short, well, long story short, she basically, we ended up, I stopped talking to her or whatever. Oh yeah, so I went to gay pride, y'all. I went to gay pride with my friends and everything like that. So I'm over here Snapchatting, like filming it in San Francisco and all that. And she was like sending me messages on Snapchat, and then like, but I didn't have time to reply to them because I was in a big old crowd, and like I wasn't trying to get lost and lose my friends and all that. So I didn't reply back for like a minute, and she's all like, wow, like you're over here opening my snaps and not even replying, like what type of friend are you, like all this extra stuff. And then she's like, oh my god, like you think like you're better than me, and just all this crazy stuff. And I was like, what is she even talking about? And I was like, I'm literally an SF, like at Gay Pride, and there's like a lot of people around me. I was like, if you want me to give you a thoughtful response to the question that you asked me, give me a second to reply, you know? And so I kind of just stopped talking to her, because I just stopped talking to her because it's like she was just doing way too much. And so after that, yeah, I haven't talked to her in like a good like couple years. And so I literally was in the hospital. And so this is when I had my SRS, sexual reassignment surgery. I was in the hospital. So all of a sudden she hits me up, and I was like, she was like, hey, I know we haven't talked in a long time. So I was like, all right, well, it's been 2 years. Like, let me just see what this girl has to say. So I was petty boots, and I was like, she asked me how I was. I was like, oh, I'm just in the hospital recovering. I just had my SRS surgery. And so she was just like, oh, okay, like that's good, stuff like that. And so remember the guy that in my story time video, my Halloween story time video about, I forgot the name that we used for him in that video, but I still talk to him and everything. And so she actually was trying to get with him. And so me and him, we went out to eat or whatever a while back. And so me and I'm gonna call him Jason. Me and Jason, we were eating, because it was me, Jason, and Bubbles. Like, we all did cross country together and stuff like that. So Jason was already in a relationship with this girl. He's in a polyamorous relationship, but his other partners, like, know about it too, and like they're all like a couple. You know what I mean? So Bubbles basically was messing with Jason and was like trying to mess with him and all this stuff. And like he was showing me all these receipts, and then like even showing her on Snapchat, like waiting, like, you know how to like wait and see what the person reply and stuff like that on Snapchat. Yeah, so like she was trying to get at him, and he even told her like, look, I have a girlfriend, like, can you stop? Like, no. And then Bubbles was just like, oh, she doesn't have to know all that stuff. And I was like, dang, Bubbles, like, you really down like that. And so I was telling him like, yeah, like that girl tried to take my man and all this stuff. And he was like, oh my God. So yeah, so now this job that I work at, there's these girls that actually knew who actually were friends with, or were friends with Bubbles too at one point. So this girl, we're gonna call her Lacianagus. We're gonna call her Lacianagus. She was telling me that Bubbles over here. So I was telling her why I wasn't friends with Bubbles or anything like that. So it's such a small world, because these girls I was working with, they used to be friends with Bubbles. So this girl, Lacianagus, told me that she is known for taking people's mans and like all this stuff. And what else, like taking people's mans, like he'll befriend the girl and all that, and then like be trying to hit them up for like to do like sexual stuff, like stuff like that. And I'm just sitting here like, this is crazy. And like she doesn't even care, like she'll just sit here and be like straight homewrecker, like just take everybody man. And I was like, that's crazy. And he was like, and then the Laciana said like, yeah, a lot of girls want to like beat her up and like all this stuff. So I'm just like, this is crazy. So basically, so when I was in the hospital recovering from SRS, basically I just was like, yeah, like, I was just kikiing with her and stuff like that. So I was like, yeah, like Jason told me that like you was trying to like flirt with him or whatever. Like me and Jason went out to eat like last month or whatever. Then she just flipped out and was like, why are y'all even talking about me? All this stuff. And I was like, what do you mean? Like, we're just like, he asked me like if I still talk to you, and I said no. And then he was like, oh, well, like she's trying to hit me up and all this stuff. And I was like, it's okay if you have a crush on him. Like, it's LOL, like, just laugh about it, you know? And she just took it to a whole new level. And she was like, so she basically ended up messaging Jason and like all this stuff, saying like, why Goddess Serenity over here saying that you said this about me, like why are y'all talking about me, all this extra stuff. And I was like, girl, you need to calm down. Like it's not that serious. Like calm down, because now you're not about to mess up my friendship with Jason. So basically, I heard him message Jason. I'm like, Bubbles is at it again. Like she about to start a lot of stuff, So Jason was just like, oh my God. So I was just basically went off on Bubbles. I just said, basically what I told her, I said, don't ever contact me again. Next time I see you in public, it's going to be a problem. And so I did tell her that. And so I ended up running into her. So the girl works at Target. I don't care. I'm going to just say the girl works at Target. And I actually ended up seeing her, but I didn't recognize her. I did not recognize her at all because it's been like years since I've seen the girl. So she tall, she got like a little bob going or whatever, but like I didn't even recognize her. So next thing you know, I'm walking in. Oh no, that too, we're wearing the mask too, so I really didn't recognize her. But she kept staring at me from a distance, and so I looked, and then all of a sudden she's like that, like acting like she's doing something. And then I was like, oh my God, that's Bubbles. And then so I just looked at her, but she immediately like walked away, like immediately. So I was like, yeah, she don't want the smoke. So so that was literally like the last time I seen her. But yeah, if I want to catch that girl or whatever, she work at Target. Yeah, Bubbles. And so, oh my God, that was just such a crazy story time. But moral of the story is be careful who you let in, and be careful of like people that, like I know like people with good hearts and stuff want to help people and stuff like that, but sometimes you just gotta be careful, because people want to stay here and just take what you got, and then like don't even want to put in the work for it. And then also too, like heck, I want to like backstab you too, and like take what you got and then want to backstab you in the end and everything like that, and then not even there for you when you need them to be. So but yeah, y'all, that was the time that my best friend try to take my man. Yeah. And then like all this extra stuff. So definitely, if you guys love this story time video, don't forget to give this video a big thumbs up, like, comment, share, subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Stay magical.